Over the next 5 nights, we will bring you a special series of reports, How We Fight. Of all the duties our new president will have, none is higher than Commander-in-Chief. Given that, and with Election Day less than a week away, we decided to take stock of America's armed forces, how they're being deployed, how they've transformed in the past several years, and what challenges they'll face in the future. In tonight's report, we look at how the world is changing and how the American military is responding to that change, or is it the other way around? As our military has changed in the last few years, has the world revised its attitude toward us? On January 12th, 10 American sailors were captured by Iran's Revolutionary Guard after mistakenly entering Iranian waters. This video was later released, showing them held at gunpoint, kneeling before their captors, and apologizing.
It was a mistake. That was our fault.
Not so long ago, the world might have awaited a response from an outraged America, likely fast and furious. Instead, the U.S. Secretary of State was soon sounding grateful to Iran.
I also want to thank the Iranian authorities for their cooperation and quick response.
The entire episode seemed to point to a new world that's been emerging these past several years, and a new military.
At other times in the past, I don't believe the Iranians would have dared to have taken our troops and to treat them like that. I don't think they would have dared do that.
4-star General John Kelly recently retired after a 45-year career with the Marine Corps.
For those people that determine that want to be our enemies, they should be afraid. I don't believe some of the countries are afraid of us.
In this new world, along with America responding differently, certain countries seem to be prepared to be more aggressive.
We're talking about great power war with one of or two of 4 countries. You're talking about China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea. I have grave concerns in terms of the readiness of our the Army forces to be able to deal with that in a timely manner.
Weapons uncovered.
What do you make of Iran's challenges to our ships in the Persian Gulf, the Russian buzzing of our vessels, the buildup in the South China Sea? It seems like these are bold actions or provocative actions.
The Iranian buzzing in the small boats, the Russian low flyovers and things. Number 1, unprofessional. Number 2, unsafe. We hope that we can deconflict these things, but it's not going to keep us from doing everything we need to do to fulfill our mission.
Ray Mabus, former Democrat governor of Mississippi, has been Secretary of the Navy since 2009.
The rise of Russia, the rise of China, and particularly in the South China Sea, ISIS, things that you can't know what's going to happen.
Secretary Mabus notes that the Navy has been ramping up shipbuilding. Another sign of increased military response. Since 2014, the Obama administration has been returning troops to Iraq, officially in advisory and support roles. How many more troops can Americans at home expect to be going to Iraq?
If more is required, and I'm sure there will be additional authorities and additional capabilities that will be required, I'll let our commanders see opportunities to do that.
Well, we have undertaken some military operations, but the difference between war and fiddling around is that if you're at war, you'd better plan to win.
James Woolsey, who served as President Bill Clinton's CIA director, thinks what we're doing simply isn't enough.
The Obama administration do a bit, and that is a recipe for losing in war. If you want to be respected, every once in a while, when the circumstances are such that you really need to use it, you use the stick and you use it decisively.
In responding to these situations, American leadership is imperative. It's indispensable. There is no substitute for it.
General David Petraeus, former CENTCOM commander and CIA director, would like to see more decisive action taken in Syria.
I have long advocated a safe zone, indeed a no
no-fly zone. We just ground Bashar al-Assad's Air Force. You just crater all the runways. You tell the Russians that if you bomb our guys, the ones that we are supporting on the ground, the opposition, we are going to have to bomb your guys, Bashar al-Assad's regime forces.
What's your sense of what has happened to the U.S. military in recent years?
Well, the U.S. military is without question the very finest in the world. The question is, can we maintain that?
If you look at the readiness issues right now, readiness to fight, I've heard the word crisis used.
General Kelly believes that not only is the military not properly prepared, but it has spent too much time enforcing social change in the ranks.
We're really robbing from Peter to pay Paul. Secretaries of the services should be fighting tooth and nail until they get the adequate funds to have our military forces ready to fight. Everything else would be put on hold.
We shouldn't make changes to military policy unless they increase lethality on a battlefield.
Corey Shockey served on George W. Bush's National Security Council and is now a research fellow at Stanford's Hoover Institution.
I think our political leadership has actually gotten quite far from that. We are incorporating greater and greater risk into the operations of our military at a time when our adversaries are getting better at combat lethality themselves. We are voluntarily making the job of our military much harder.
Tomorrow, the How We Fight series continues as we look at whether considerations of social justice in the ranks are hampering or helping military readiness.